James Lofton, Dial Global NFL analyst, Hall of Famer. What do you think of that, how that played out with Denver?
I think the 11th time he would let Peyton go for it. Well, it's the same scenario that we saw with Matt Ryan.
Well, no, they had to score.
I know they had to, but the Broncos, I think there has to be a sense of urgency every time you get the football. If you have to score, don't you try and score?
I didn't want
Isn't that the mentality that you're kind of talking about here?
Yeah, with Peyton, certainly. Yeah. And the thing that would worry me is going into overtime, the Ravens have momentum. Like, I want to steal back a little bit of that.
Sure.
And I think that, you know, how that plays out, I don't know. Am I asking too much of Peyton Manning, given the conditions that he hadn't thrown the ball deep and, you know, to get in field goal range?
I would assume that during pregame warm-ups he tried to throw the ball deep. Now, if the Ravens defense and if Ray Lewis is scaring you about throwing the ball deep down the middle during the game, yeah, maybe that's one thing. But at the end of the game there, you know, maybe you take a couple of shots, but if you don't, are you afraid that you're going to turn the ball over again? Is that what you're thinking?
Would John Elway have done that?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. But if you're in the huddle and they say we're going to take a knee, I don't know.
Yeah, the communication set has gone out. I couldn't hear them. What?
But Peyton can overrule everybody, can he? In a situation like that, if John Fox says take a knee?
No, he can't. You know, that's what a lot of the fans think, that Peyton's calling all his plays. You know, Mike McCoy's on the headset. He's giving them 2 plays. He's giving them options. You know, this thing that he's the offensive coordinator and all that. You know, I like all that changing plays at the line, but it's still by design. It's still by design. It's what you practice, what you work on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
As far as the Ravens and Joe Flacco, and yeah, I keep saying this is an offensive team, even though we keep holding on to this Ray Lewis, you know, swan song, and Ed Reed. Ed Reed didn't have a good game. Ray Lewis had a decent game. But they went toe-to-toe offensively with the Broncos in those conditions in Denver. That, to me, was the story.
They went toe-to-toe, and the Broncos were also afforded 2 kick return touchdowns. And maybe they score on both those drives. So, you know, you can negate that. But Baltimore Ravens, you're right. They were a running team a few years ago.
Yeah.
And now they're a passing team. They've evolved just like the Atlanta Falcons have evolved with Matt Ryan. Michael Turner used to be the bell cow, but now it's about those receivers on the outside.
But can they go in with that game plan that they had in Denver and beat New England?
Well, I think so, and I still think that there are some teams that you match up well against, and it'll be a test to see if the Ravens can stop the run a little bit, because now Stephen Ridley runs the ball.
Yeah.
He had over 1,200 yards rushing during the course of the season. And the Ravens gave up 120 yards, but they didn't give up a lot of long runs. It was like a little, you know, steady trickle, like, you know, your faucet's leaking and you can hear it. So they gave up 4 yards per carry during the regular season. And subsequently, they were on the field a lot. You know, you heard Haloti Ngata talking about, you know, we've been out on the field a lot the last couple of games, and hopefully it doesn't wear us out.
He's James Lofton, the Hall of Famer. He works for Dial Global, NFL analyst on radio. You had the Seahawks-Falcons game. When it's 20-0, what are you saying, either publicly or privately?
Well, I was handed a note that only 1 out of 54 teams had come back from this, and, you know, it was the 1992 Buffalo Bills back in January of 93, and we came back, and people always ask me, you know, what were you thinking? And I'm honest. I was thinking today's Sunday. We lived in California during the off season. We'd be back home by Wednesday. I wasn't thinking we could claw back in this. We had just lost to Houston the week before in the regular season. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, for Seattle, you know, they had come back the week before against the Redskins, but that was a different deal. RG3 was injured, and, you know, you could see his play starting to deteriorate in front of you. But Russell Wilson, wow. You know, the way to explain him, and I was talking to a couple of defensive coaches, he said, we can't rush him all out, because you run at him, and it's like a bull running at the matador. He just waves that cape in front of you, and then he's gone. So, you know, people are going to have to try and figure out how to play him. They'll go back and they'll look at the film when he was at Wisconsin. They'll say, oh, no, he didn't find it there. They'll go back and look at the film in North Carolina State. They don't find anything there. Then they'll go back to the high school stuff, and we're in trouble.
Yeah, he's going to join us final hour of the show, and I just love what I see, and I think he may have snuck in to win the Rookie of the Year, which is pretty amazing when you consider RG3 and Andrew Luck. But you know, I love the fact that we're actually talking about the Rookie of the Year race, because normally just somebody stands out offensively and defensively. But
well, think about the fact that Alfred Morris from Florida Atlantic, I had to look at the map to see where Florida Atlantic was. I knew it was near the water. But 1,600 yards rushing, and you know he'll get a couple of fourth-place votes.
A couple of things. So you got the Niners-Falcons NFC title game coming up this weekend. As far as Colin Kaepernick, with his style.
You know, we've seen this before. You've been to high school games on Friday night, haven't you?
Yeah.
You sit in the stands and go, boy, that kid playing quarterback, he's better than everybody on the field. And so last week against the Green Bay Packers have a great quarterback. They've got Clay Matthews and Charles Woodson on defense. But that Colin Kaepernick kid, he's the best kid on the field. I wonder where he's going to college next year. I wonder if he's going to USC or Alabama. Who's recruiting him? You looked at him and you just said, wow, they can't stop him. No matter what he's doing, they can't stop him. And the one replay that I saw where Clay Matthews, he looked like one of the Three Stooges. They go, whoop, 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 whoop. Where is he? And it was just phenomenal to watch.
He reminds me, I said this yesterday, he's sort of Randy Moss. When Randy Moss first came out and you saw some, you go, that I haven't seen that. Well, we've seen guys who are elusive, but not daddy long legs, not somebody 6'5".
I have a daddy long legs doll right behind me with an old time uniform on. So
well, he was, but
he is something.
Okay, but we keep saying Atlanta's, the party guest that you really don't want them to show up, but here they are, and they're a win away from going to the Super Bowl.
And you know what? They've got two outside linebackers and two safeties that can. Maybe they can slow Kaepernick down a little bit. Stephen Nicholas and Sean Weatherspoon and Thomas Deku and William Moore, linebackers and safeties, and they're young and athletic, so maybe they can chase this guy down a little bit.
But you still have Gore. You still have these wide receivers.
I'd rather all of that to beat me than to beat me quickly. You know, Gore is great, but he's going to run in between the tackles. You know that.
But why didn't Green Bay do this where you take away, at least you say, I'm going to take away something from Kaepernick?
They thought they were. and the fakes, you know, we see the fake with the television's eye.
Yeah. From
high in the sky. You got to remember those field eyes, what you see from 4 yards away when he puts the ball in the belly, and everybody's blocking the run. They're not blocking for the quarterback. The fake is what gets you. And if you don't play your assignment, you're a man short on stopping the run, and you're going to give up 4-yard gains. But if you go for the fake and he goes around the corner, you're giving up a 40-yard run.
You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about this. Would the Niners rather face Seattle in San Francisco or Atlanta in Atlanta?
Well, I did the game, and we had it on Sunday night when San Francisco went to Seattle. Yep. And they had just gone, and they had played against New England the week before. And I remember saying, if Colin Kaepernick can win these two ball games, then Jim Harbaugh should get Coach of the Year for that decision to put him in. Now, they stumbled against Seattle, and I think they're happy that Seattle's out.
Who do you have? Who do you like?
No, you know, I'm a coward. I pick home teams in the playoffs.
You got the home team advancing?
Tuesday, I'm picking the home team, and I can still waffle and flip over by Saturday.
It's great to visit with you, and have fun this weekend.
Good talking to you, y'all.
All right, buddy. James Lofton, Dow Global NFL analyst, the Hall of Famer.